Hello, Libra. This is Tarot Lumination, and we have your June 2017 Love and Relationship Report. Okay, that's Tarot Lumination. That's you, and that's Other Mystery. Okay, so please, I invite you to watch the introduction all signs video so that you have a better understanding of how this little reading is presented to you, so that it won't sound like gobbledygook. Okay. Also, please remember, like all the astrology people, I've never figured out why they do readings by sun sign, but apparently we do. Please watch for your sun, moon, and rising, because you'll get a much broader, more comprehensive perspective, and you can make better decisions. Okay? It's all about making decisions, isn't it, Libra? Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So I don't do any flyers, jumpers. I don't have any oracles for you this month. It's just going to be stripped down, bare bones relationship in a crucible spread. And I don't do reversals either. So if I stumble on one, I'm going to flip it upright. So don't freak out, okay? Any questions? Just like go to tarotlumination.com and we can go from there, or leave a comment or something. We'll try to figure it out. I do what we can here. We do what we can. All right, so let's get on with it, Libra. Everything was well shuffled in advance, but I like to go and prove it to you right up to the very last second, so that you know you've got a clean deck for your little mini romantic love and relationship reading. Romantic. All right, here we go. I've got to cut it. Hold on. Let's calm down. Let's have a look here. I'm going to cut it like this, a little bit like that, and then like this. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Here's you. Okay. Here's a significant other. Maybe a hopeful, maybe long-term already, maybe budding or flowering or in process, let's say. And there's let's go deeper inside of you. What's going on in the context of the relationship, and the same for the other. What's going on inside of them deeper down? And then we start to get into the thick of it here. What's the actual status of the relationship itself? Not you, not the other, the relationship. Okay? So let's keep going, and that will lead us towards this type of energy. Let's have a look. All right? So now, I like to do this. I don't always do it, but I like to, and I've been doing it for all of June. So in the background, we have what I think of as the weather. It's just energy that's out there, whether you have invoked it or whether it's just coming at you, or it's just weather outside the door and you just got to deal with it. That's just what it is, okay? And you make the best of it, just like you do in any weather situation. If you got to go out, you go out and you do it. If it's really hot, you just wear cool clothes. If it's blowing and thundering, you wrap up, okay? You just deal with it. So what you have, dear Libra, is the devil. Okay, so you might be fighting with something that feels that's insurmountable in some ways. In other words, the passions may have been getting the better of you in a relationship situation. There's a lot of ways that different readers read this, and there's the basic idea of you're dealing with a bondage situation where you might be confusing love with things like codependency or straight out dependency, as opposed to a healthy love relationship where you are essentially independent, self-determined beings who treat each other and respect each other that way, rather than being cripplingly dependent on each other. It might be another way to look at it. Sometimes I look at it this way, is that you are just really enjoying yourself at the moment with the more luscious and delicious and sometimes lustful sides of the relationship. Sometimes it's appropriate to do that. And a lot of people judge the devil card and darken it up because, yeah, I mean, obviously the image is pretty scary, um, but there's a way to look at it where you can allow yourself to be a human being and accept the fact that, sometimes it's really nice to like just become obscenely, wickedly obsessed and kind of um, indulgent with another, where you're literally almost like gorging on each other. It's a human delight, it's a human treat. It's like we consume each other. And yeah, it is sort of taboo. It's just like taking things too far, like at a party or something. Instead of having a genteel sip of, the local beverage, you're chugging it down. You end up like a mess all over the place, and what was fun, it just becomes kind of gross. So there's a balance you have to strike with this energy. If you're surrounded by this and you're swimming in an energy field that feels like um, like you're being swept along by your own passions, and it might be sort of very delicious, but you also know that something around it is a little bit unsavory, unacceptable, and that's ultimately unwholesome, and it might backfire on you in the longer run. Like you might just love getting stoned together or something, and you have a problem, but you just do it anyway. Or maybe both of you are just flat out alcoholics, and you just can't help it. And you love just getting blasted together and making out, and then you just happen to regret it later, but you just can't resist the fun of getting blasted and making out. And all sorts of versions of that. You might be um, just living in an energy field in a relationship where um, it's almost like you want to get out. I wish I could get out of it, but I'm strapped in because perhaps there was some naivety going into a relationship at the very early stages. And now some of the shadowy aspects are starting to unfold. But let's treat that as a blessing because that might be what needs to be healed. Okay, let's have a look. So, what's going on with you, Libra? Okay, you're taking charge of the situation. You're determined to figure it out, whatever it is. Okay, the whole idea is to prevail, is to succeed, and doing this with passion from the heart. And it involves, this is like very much about taking charge of your own energy field, like regardless of anything and everything else out there. This is very much about Libra making a very, very deliberate decision to say, almost like, enough is enough. I'm going to take care of this, as though it's your responsibility and yours alone. So that's very noble. It is a relationship with a significant other, and it is this reading is done under the uh, like a protocol where you're dealing with a significant relationship as opposed to a trivial, lighthearted, like, are we going to date type of thing or whatever, a fun, romantic thing. This is more for people who are dealing with uh, relationships that they consider significant, no matter how good they are, no matter how challenging and rough they might be at the moment in time. We're going to deal with it because that's what we do here, Terra Illumination. So with you, Libra, you've decided to take charge, and that's a good sign because this is your reading for you about your relationship with a significant other. So it's almost like that's what it's all about. And the status of the relationship itself, indicated here, will be evident soon, and that you are in a position where you realize that you have to invest yourself in the relationship in order for things to prevail and succeed and work out. And you're not going to leave it to fate. You're not going to get sucked into like, oh, it's all about, all you think about is yourself, and all you think about is yourself. And what are we trying to get out of you? What am I trying to get out of you? What are you trying to get out of me? No, no, no. Libra, I think this is being conducted on the understanding that you might have issues uh, that need to be addressed, and you've made a decision to take charge. We're going to address this with the intention of a successful outcome. Okay, so let's go. Let's have a look at the other. What's going on in their field? Okay, well, they might feel that it's almost like they're getting what they deserve. And that could be negative or positive. In other words, if there is something very uncomfortable going on, and it's to do with like matters of energy that are like consuming, where it might be that the energy of the relationship is consuming itself. In other words, um, the unhealthy aspects of the relationship are becoming dominant and actually consuming the relationship, almost like rust. Okay, and it's because of neglect or uh, just lack of attention on what really counts in the relationship. And you might be dealing with another party who is aware that there are challenges in the relationship dynamic that have not been addressed, and they're starting to feel like, well, I had a feeling this was coming. Okay, and so now we're just going to deal with it. But this other is conducting themselves almost in a remote manner. Uh, because to me, it feels it's almost like they're fighting this energy of, let's just put it here, let's get right back to here, this this so-called chain of bondage. It might feel as though, well, I'm stuck or I'm strapped into this relationship, and it's okay. It's got all sorts of good things about it. On the other hand, we've got this issue stuff with being, like, say, trapped or bonded to each other, or we're dealing with intractable issues that make us feel as though we're um, at the mercy of the relationship. Like we're addicted to the relationship or we're addicted to each other. And you could be addicted to the negative aspects, the shadow side of the relationship, to the point where negative energy breeds negative energy, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But Libra, it sounds like you decided, no, we're going to take charge of this. We want to make the good stuff happen. And there's a little bit of surrender, or like almost not detachment, but sort of a sense of lack of participation. That's what I'm feeling here in the other. It's more like, well, I kind of knew this was going to happen. And yeah, we've got all this stuff, all this potential that could happen. And I would like to see the good stuff happen. But there's something um, there's something going on that we're not dealing with, and it's to do with that consuming side of the relationship. Now, they might be in some ways happy that they've come this far, and they're starting to see signs of potentially uh, like better horizons approaching, because they might be recognizing your energy to take charge and understand that you can't just run a relationship on autopilot. Just because there was a moment in time where two people come together and they unify and they bond and they commit to each other to some degree or another, like anything from like moving in together or becoming boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse, lovers or something like that. But we're going beyond lovers in this kind of spread here. It's more to do with the energy of love in the highest order in terms of commitment, where you deliberately engage with a significant other in order to enhance the spiritual growth and well-being and evolution of the other, and the other commits to provide the same for you. Okay, so it's a mutually supportive relationship. And it seems that even if there might have been some good intentions at the beginning, the relationship is at a point where some of the darker, shadowy sides of the relationship are being exposed, or they have been around for a while, and it's starting to become a problem, to the point where you, Libra, have decided we need to take care of this. And you're hopefully hoping that the other party will go, like, instead of just, well, I told you so, maybe hopefully they might actually participate in coming together to see what can be done here. All right. So let's go deeper into you, Libra. What's going on? It's got to the point where, let's give it a couple spins. All right. Where in due consideration, wanting to take charge and move on and like better your life, your life, you're actually pondering the idea of moving on, taking everything that works with you and leaving behind what doesn't work. It might be that there's too much shadow, too much negativity, where you're actually wrestling and toying with the idea of moving on. And I'm not saying dumping this person or them dumping you, because we might be in a long-term relationship where, yes, some shadowy issues are coming to the surface and they need to be dealt with. If you're in a long-term committed relationship, then you might be coming to an awareness that all this turbulence over here needs to be addressed, and we need to move beyond that and into calmer waters. We need to address all the issues, the points of contention that have caused us to get in a situation where we're feeling like maybe bonded or suffocated or oversaturated, or uh, we've had enough of each other. It's too much and we need a break. We need to chill out. Like we need to separate for a while. And you can do that in a healthy way, even a long-term committed relationship where you can literally agree to take significant time out from each other and conduct yourselves, even if you're living in the same place, where you conduct yourselves in a very orderly manner and you say, you take care of your business, I'll take care of my business. We're still good. We still love each other, blah, blah, blah. But it's almost like you, dear Libra, have decided to take charge. You're not willing to put up with the crappy, shadowy stuff anymore. You want to deal with the crap and clean it up and move on and keep the good stuff, okay? That's what I'm feeling here. I don't see this as a total like wipeout, bust it all up kind of thing. It looks to me like, Libra, you really want this to work. You would like to find the good things in a relationship and make the best out of it, okay? Um, All right, let's have a look at what's going on with them. You see, okay. It's just that you might have been aware of this for quite a long time, Libra. You might be dealing with a partner who has some serious issues, okay, that had been buried and neglected, and they might be getting covered up with unhealthy behavior like drinking too much or smoking too much or staying out too late or cheating or just not participating, maybe overeating, or maybe like just almost like pissing on your own parade kind of energy, because the other, I have a feeling, is carrying a lot of issues that they're not willing to deal with. They don't actually want to deal with it in the way that you do. It's almost like you're having to take charge and make it all happen and work for the relationship to be healthy, and they're taking like almost like a passive role, saying, well, I told you, and so you figure it out. And then all of a sudden you're now left with, all the burden is on you to figure it out, and the other is still um, treating themselves to the privilege of not having to do any work on themselves. Okay, so that's not cool. That's very imbalanced in a relationship, and that's not healthy. And that might be a situation where you've got to the point where, like, you've reached a real low in the relationship where you've seen the worst of each other and you're dealing with it, but it's almost like you're sick of it. You don't want to stay in the mud all the time and just say, oh, well, that was it. I always knew you were a loser, and you always knew that I was going to end up like this anyway, blah, blah, blah. So what do you expect? This is just how it is now. It's kind of crappy, and you're thinking of moving on. You want to take charge of it. And the other person is just like, well, I told you so. So blah. It's just kind of like, it's almost gross in a way. Um, like it seems to me like you want to make something happen. You want to work it out. You're not saying I have to work it out or move on. It's just like you want to work it out so that you can move on with the relationship. I'm not saying busting it up the relationship. And the other also may be perceiving or like projecting in such a way that they might think that all the problems in the relationship are because of you and your behavior, and that they're scot-free. It's just like, well, it's your relationship. It's you made it happen. You're the one who asked me out, and we dated, and I just said yes because it was like I thought it was the cool thing to do. And that's a little bit immature, because in a relationship of substance, you're both actually contributing energy, and it's not just a simple like, oh, hi, I love you. What can I get out of you? And oh, I like you too. I see some good prospects. What can I get out of you? No, it's very different. It's I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Let's make something out of this, and we will invest in ourselves and each other in the relationship. Okay? And in so doing, I don't know how long this has been going on, but it's very hard to continue with this kind of energy just lurking in the background, and it's just coming to the surface and it's not being dealt with. It's being self-medicated out of the way. Okay, it's not healthy. It might be, it might seem obvious like the best way to deal with a problem is just, drink more because it's fun and so on and so on, but you're not actually healing any issues. You're not solving it. You're not bringing any love into the equation. You're just like, I'm not saying you, it's just like someone else, a significant other, might be just avoiding, avoiding what has to be addressed because they don't really want to address it because it means then they would have to work on themselves and understand that they are a participant in the relationship. And it isn't just all about you making it happen for them, and they have to just be carried and go along with it, and it's your responsibility to make it all work. No, no, no. That's not a healthy relationship. It might be, dear Libra, that you are in an unhealthy situation and it needs to be addressed, but it's very hard to address it if the other party is not willing to address it. Ugh. Sorry, I got all worked up there. So, what's the status? Let's have a look. Okay, well, maybe there's issues of fertility here. Okay, I'm kind of going out on a limb with this card. It might be that it's like there's an awareness that there's a lot of potential of all the, let's say, all the good sides of a relationship, all the love that should be there, all the abundance, all the beauty. And it might be that deep down, both of you actually are aware of that. Okay, which would be nice. It would be nice if everybody had that degree of awareness in a relationship. And maybe that you're coming to an awareness that there is something beautiful and it's worth saving and it's worth fixing so that you don't become like a victim of neglect. In other words, by taking charge, dear Libra, and addressing all this stuff in the situation, which might require having to like go in and deep deal with the emotional and spiritual and passionate aspects of the relationship in order to address the problem, that could actually be healthy. In other words, despite these issues here, there might be at the very, very core of the relationship, on the positive side, something really, really worth saving. Something that is actually still inherently very beautiful, very fertile, very abundant, and fundamentally built out of love. And it might be that you have an awareness of that and you don't want to lose it. And however, there is the threat of loss and degeneration and the whole thing turning into like I don't know why I keep using the self-medicating analogy, but to the point where the shadow aspects of the relationship are no longer appropriate to you or for you, and you want the good stuff to happen. And let's flip this energy a little bit. Like maybe their significant other does have hopes and ambitions, and the seeds were planted some time ago, and they are starting to blossom, but there are these serious conflicts in the way, misunderstandings, and they are going to be addressed. Because deep down, I think both of you know what the issues may be. Okay? It might be, I don't want to get too specific, okay? This is just a general reading for lots of people, lots and lots of Libras. This is your reading for you, Libra, in your relationship with a significant other. Like if this was a private reading, this would just be you and Tarot Lumination working together. Sometimes couples come in and they want a couples reading. This is not a couples reading. This is your reading for your relationship, dear Libra. So it might be at the core, the status of the relationship is that, yes, it is very wholesome and beautiful and delicious and lovely and full of blessings, but there are problems that are not being addressed. Okay? And the awareness is there. You see it. They might not get it like you do, but at least you see it, dear Libra. And, and the way it's heading is just like you might want to be appreciated and valued more and understood more by your significant other. And to the point where it's evident. In other words, I want proof. Show me you love me. Okay? Instead of just saying, oh, I love you. Yeah, love you. Love you. Love you. Yeah, bye. See, I gotta go. I'm gonna work. I'll see you tonight. All right, love you. Bye. Where it's just autopilot, like lazy love, so to speak. It looks to me, dear Libra, where you're aware of the good stuff, aware of all the potential. You're very aware that you're dealing with some, um, let's just say, issues of the passions, of like the stuff that goes on in a relationship where it's very easy for things to go wrong. Like a lot of people, um, the reality check is they start off with something passionate and beautiful and lovely and everything's abundant and fertile, and then it kind of gets consumed. They actually consume each other. Instead of feeding and nurturing and take care of each other, they actually feed off each other, as though they are a source of nutrition for the other, and it ends up being depleting. They end up depleting each other to the point where the relationship is degenerated. In other words, it's almost like, let's say your relationship is like a beautiful bowl of fruit, okay? Or a plant that bears delicious fruit, of everything you need. And all you ever do all day is just gorge on the fruit, but you never take care of the plant or the tree. And the tree just eventually dies. You see, that's not healthy. It's not the way to do it. You nurture the tree, and then you very, very thoughtfully enjoy the fruits. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So where it's heading is that there might be a determination here for you, Libra, that you're going to find the value in this relationship. You're going to find a way somehow to appreciate the other and to be appreciated by the other, where the value is evident and expressed. Now, it might not be an easy task. What I'm sensing with this little Three of Pentacles is that there has been a lot of neglect, and that work needs to be done on the relationship, and it's not just all up to you. It involves the other party, but in order for the work to be done, the issues need to be addressed so you can move on and heal what needs to be addressed, so you can get back to nurturing and taking care of the relationship that you were invested in at one point, that had all the hallmarks of something wonderful and beautiful, but which has degenerated because it just turned into not an orgy of consumption, but more like just neglect. Like you just uh, didn't care, neither of you. It's not just all up to you, but like the relationship was not maintained properly, and it degenerated into like all these the negative things, the shadowy aspects that I already described for this energy around you that you're swimming in. And so it becomes a task to salvage. It becomes like a salvaging operation. Well, honey, what are we going to do to fix this? Okay, so it's like I want this to work. I want to fix this, and they're like, okay, we'll fix it. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, you're the one with the issues and how we got into this mess in the first place. All I want to do is fix it and get back to what works and leave behind all the crap. And they're going, oh, okay. Well, I understand. Isn't it your problem? And you're like, no, I'm sorry. It's our problem. These are our issues. This is our relationship. This is our fertility. This is our abundance. This is us. This is our beauty, the thing that we made together, the thing that we have together. Our relationship is beautiful, but it is degenerating, and I want to fix it. And maybe if you just make the point very clearly, just very, very gently, maybe towards maybe it'll gently get to the point where there is an understanding that the relationship will get fixed. Okay? In other words, with deep reluctance from the other, and perhaps an admission of guilt, like, well, perhaps I didn't pull my weight, I didn't do my part, perhaps I've just been drowning my sorrows or just ignoring my issues, and the whole relationship just got rusty and degenerated, and the wheels fell off, and you know, the engine ran out of oil, and all the gas ran out of the passions. And you're saying, exactly. Well, if you love me like I love you, then we're going to fix it, okay? And we're going to bring back the value that we saw in each other in the first place, where you appreciated me for who I really am, and I appreciated you for who you really are, and which is the foundation of our relationship originally, okay? So that's kind of what I'm feeling here, dear Libra. I hope you can, you know, get something out of this, make kind of a sense out of it. If not, please read for your, you know, sun, moon, and rising, and then mush it all up together, and this might make more sense. Again, watch the introduction, all signs playlist video. That might help as well. Okay. So all the best in June, dear Libra. All the best. Hang in. Be strong. You've got strength. Don't worry. You've got enough desire and motivation to make this happen, even if you have to carry the weight for a while to reclaim some of this. Okay. All right. Enough. Bye, dear Libra.